Hola familia, welcome back to The Chisme with Cari and Jess. So today we are going to touch base on a very sore subject that kind of stirred the pot a little bit with our other social media platform. In the past couple of episodes we were talking about, toxic relationships and red flags and whatnot, setting boundaries. And one of the red flags that we touched on was sharing your location with your significant other. And we posted a clip on TikTok, and it resonated with a lot of people. We got tons of comments, but specifically the men, which I found
was really
very
surprised.
I found it was like, whoa,
I feel like
the string.
Most of the videos have been like women, right? Women,
Yeah.
and maybe one or two men will comment or whatever, because it's not really stirring the pot at that point.
Right.
But this location thing was like, it was like, dang.
They came.
Men showed.
They came out of the woodworks. Like they were like,
came up. We have an opinion about this, right?
And I think it was about 80 to 20%, or 80% versus 20% men were commenting versus the women.
Yeah.
And
the way that they were commenting,
Yeah.
right? Because women were commenting, but the women were more like, oh, just like, just saying their opinion.
yeah,
But the
men were
expressing.
expressing. Yeah, they were. They definitely had a tone to their text. I mean, to their message on the comments. So one of the okay, let's back up. Basically, in the other clip that we had posted, we posted that Jessica's ex and her were sharing location. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the red flags that she should have, she should have realized that it was just such a toxic relationship.
If they would have listened to the whole video, those people who were going crazy, they would have known that in the context of the whole video was that these were red flags in that specific relationship because of the way he was responding to having my location.
Correct.
Not that we didn't share or not any of that. It's the way that he was responding was a red flag.
Yeah.
But
this was just one.
Yeah.
But one example of many of why he in their particular relationship was just toxic, and the sharing the location with her ex-spouse was
not my spouse.
Well, her ex
significant other, was stirring the pot. Yeah.
So, we posted this clip on TikTok, and I'm gonna read you some of the comments. Okay, one man. This is a male. He got my handy dandy notebook. So he put, always keep them on a tight leash, fellas. Women prove daily they make horrible decisions and need to be led as they should. Wow. I read that and then my heart started pounding. Like, as I was reading that comment on TikTok, I was like, oh, this mofo. Like, what are we in the 30s? Come on. What the heck?
I'm very sure that he was trying to poke at it,
For sure.
Because what I've come to realize is how much... Like, I mean, the internet is such a funny thing, like, none of these people know us. They don't even know who we are. And we stirred something inside of them that made them feel so strongly about the word sharing locations. Yeah. It was like, and for him to post, I mean, I know there's like some kind of sarcasm in there.
For sure.
And so it's funny to me, Like, personally, because obviously the video was about me, right? Sharing the location. And in the video, I'm saying that I wanted to do whatever it took to, make it work. And so I was willing to share. And you weren't even giving your opinion.
No, I think, so you just said we shared our location.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, well, that's another red flag.
Yeah.
Right. Because we knew
that
the context of what that conversation was, But obviously we just posted like a little tiny, it was maybe like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes at most. And they obviously I responded to some of these comments like, you need to go back and look at some of the other videos so you could get a little bit more perspective on why we said that it's a red flag. Yeah. So that was a male who commented on it.
And what did you respond to him? I think you just laughed.
I think I put like a bunch of laughing emojis because I honestly, like, at the end of the day I was like, that's pretty funny, like haha, like okay. Okay, so another follower commented, it's another male. He commented, remember that it's a red flag for both genders, and it seems women leave themselves out of this issue, which I personally believe that that's a good point. He does make a fair point because obviously, again, he only saw a clip of what we were talking about, and I responded to that comment to him, basically saying that we did touch base
that we believe it goes both ways. Yeah.
Right. So I'm really glad that he actually did commented on it. He actually did respond back to my comment that I said, like, oh, if you go back to the videos, you will see that we do touch base on the fact that, yes, we do agree it goes both ways.
Las mujeres somos tóxicas también.
Absolutely. Yeah, it goes both ways. Yeah. He responded again and said, like, oh, I'm so glad that you guys acknowledge. I'm like, absolutely. Like, women are just as toxic as men, right? So I'm really glad that he actually brought that up porque, yeah, like, igual.
Yes.
Las mujeres también son culpables de eso.
Yeah. Y conocemos mujeres que somos. Like, we personally know those women who are crazy. And we're not saying we haven't had moments where, you know, we're in our feelings and we just have a response, you know? So, but it's just funny that it's just like stepping back, you're able to see how people in general respond.
Right.
Like, these people, us, when we're on the internet or whoever they are, we go online, we see a tiny little clip of somebody's words, and we like jump to conclusions on who they are, what they believe in, like their thought process. Yeah, and they're just like attacking like basically the whole situation. But it's so funny because it was this out of everything that we've spoken about. It was the sharing the location.
I mean, obviously,
it's a strong passion. I want to share my opinion on why, but finish that.
Okay. So obviously, this is a big issue because the sharing of locations is something that has just come into play in relationships in the last couple of years, right? With the technology and whatnot. Because before this, it wasn't a thing. Like, I mean, if you were lucky if you caught them home, right? Like, it was landlines.
Right.
And, you know, I think prior to the iPhone, the Droid, whatever, there was no such thing as sharing a location. No. You literally had to call them like, hey, ¿dónde estás?
Right.
Now it's a simple thing as you have it turned on and you could check if you have that.
That feature. Does Samsung have like a sharing location thing? Or do other phones?
I think amongst themselves they do, just like the iPhone has the sharing of location. I think you have to have
like the same
phone or
Droid
or the green bubble people. So now that we're kind of, you know, we read a couple of interesting mail. You know what? I'm not gonna be biased. I'm gonna read a good one. Okay, so this was from a woman. She put, my husband and I have been sharing our locations for 20 years now for safety reasons. It has never gotten toxic, which if it's used in the right way, I think it could save a life, right? Like if you find yourself in a dangerous situation.
Which if you go back to some of our videos with your job, with our job, it is definitely a safety issue. Yeah.
So what are your personal thoughts about the sharing location thing?
It's funny because what that person or the people who commented doesn't know is that to this day, I do share my current location with my significant other that I have today. Which is so crazy because it just goes to show that it is not the sharing the location topic itself that's toxic. It's who you're sharing it with and who the person is and who you are and how it's used, right? Most of the time I even forget we're sharing the locations, and so does he, because he'll be like, hey, like, where are you? Because we're either running late. We obviously don't live in the same city. But in contrast to my previous relationship, that was such a fiery topic. It held so much weight. In this relationship, we forget that it even exists, you know? It's never been an issue. We share it, obviously, because we don't live in the same city. I mean, we both live in California, but like if he's coming or I'm going to visit him or whatever, traffic, and I don't answer, obviously I'm in a lot of meetings or situations where I can't actually answer. And he'll be worried, like, oh my gosh, where is she, or what happened? And you know me, I'm always on my phone. So if I don't answer, I'm either dead in a ditch or something. And everybody that knows me knows that if I don't answer my phone, something is seriously wrong, right? But I want to give him peace of mind that, like, oh, she didn't answer, she's at work, or she's probably in a meeting, or she's on a phone call, or, oh, look, she's in the recording studio in whatever, you know? So, but it's never been an issue, you know? And I don't think that, you know, like that lady and like some of the men, I personally believe that sharing locations for safety reasons is the whole reason why sharing locations was a thing. But I mean, I've heard both, and I've never had an issue with it, right? Because I think for women, and this is just my opinion, okay, my opinion, from my experience of observation of other people, right, men and women, I believe that the reason why a male wouldn't want to share or a woman wouldn't want to share are for different reasons, right? And it could go both ways, like they could swap, but I primarily think men, when they're shady, right, and we women when we're insecure, and we have reason to be, men don't want to be told, like, point it out, oh, well, what are you doing here, or da-da-da-da, right, because it's a weapon to be used against them, right? And they're trying to be, right, they are being shady, so they're like, no, I'm not going to give her more ammo, right, because she's right. And for a female, it's like, I don't want to be told what to do. I don't owe you anything. I don't want to be told, right? So not because we're doing something wrong, right? But it comes from almost a pride thing. Okay. You don't deserve, or not you don't deserve, but you don't need to have it. Like, I could just tell you where I'm at. Or not. Right. You know what like, I don't owe you anything. And so I think that it stems for women, not because we're necessarily shady, and again, that doesn't go across the whole board, but primarily it stems from, like, I don't need to tell you. And for men, it's, I'm actually being shady and I don't want you to continue to question me, right? Because an actual male who has no problem sharing will share.
But then it goes both ways. Like,
right, that's what I'm saying. It could flop.
The men could say, I'm not, you know, those machista men could say, like, there's no way I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. Like, you know, or vice versa for the women. Right. So yeah, definitely.
That's why I'm saying it could flop. But when I've heard people have opinions about it, whether it's male or female, a male, like, men are very simple. So it's either they are cheating for the general rule, right? The 80%. They either are, or they're being shady, or they don't want to give that woman security because they're not exactly serious about them or whatever. So they're like in dating relationships, right? Marriage is a whole different story, but
well, let me stop you there, because so I didn't write this particular comment down, but there was another man on the comments section that said, like, if they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat regardless if they have the location. Like, people have found out their significant other was cheating because they had their location
or
turned
the
on.
Apple Watch thing.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's been
so
on the
I
news,
think regardless, like, I think it goes deeper than just, like, if it's going to be shady or not, whether the person is cheating or not. I think it goes deeper than that. Yeah. I, on the other hand, versus Jessica, I don't share my location with my husband. Well, one, he has a Droid and I have an iPhone, so I don't think there's I don't know. I have to look into it, but I don't think there's a way. But I personally think that again, if a person's going to cheat, they're going to cheat regardless
Right.
of if they have, because there's ways to do it, right? You could leave your phone behind in someone's
Right.
house.
Or you could turn off your location
turn it
meanwhile.
off in the like
Right.
whatever,
I
right?
lost reception. Right.
For me, I think that unless, like, obviously going back to our job, we're you know, we do go into very dangerous situations. We're realtors.
Off the grid, yeah.
So we're going into strangers' houses with sometimes strange people, like that first time that we're meeting them. And a lot of times we've lost reception. There's been a times where, like, I've given her a heart attack. I've given my husband a heart attack because I'm not answering my phone. My phone, like, trips out and there's no way to get a hold of me, right?
Yeah.
There are situations where I've given you my location because, again, my husband has a droid, so I can't give him. It's not as simple as, like, boom, turn on my location, and you know. But I do feel like it's an invasion of privacy, like,
with who?
For both parties, like,
of
there's
husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, so I'm not questioning you. I'm just what the people might be saying. Right.
I do feel like there's limits to how intimate you want to be with your partner, or how much information, like, you want to share with them, and it has nothing to do with being shady or not. And for me, on a personal level, it's nothing to do with you know, he's not going to know. He's not going to control me. It's got nothing to do with that. I think it's more of, like, one, the invasion of privacy. Two, going back to boundaries. There's boundaries, and take it. I've been married for almost 18 years. Yeah. Okay. And so when we first started our relationship, this wasn't a thing. Sharing locations, it wasn't a thing. And then as technology progressed, obviously it became an option. We actually never have really sat down and talked about it. Like, hey, would you?
Right. It's never been a conversation.
Yeah,
for you
it's
guys.
never been
or an issue because he's on Android.
Because he's a green bubble guy. But to me, it kind of irks me a little bit. Like, why the need to share your look? Like, you're already with this person almost 24/7. Okay.
Your husband.
My husband.
Right.
The only other time that I would share a location with him is if, when I was going off the grid, I was going, you know, like, doing a showing out in the middle of nowhere. I 100% see the good in sharing a location
for safety reasons.
Yeah, for those reasons. Or, like, hey, I'm on my way to your house. I might catch traffic. Here's my ETA, and you turn on your estimated time of arrival. That I'm completely, like, cool. Like, it's just a one-time thing. Blah blah blah. Like, but, like, to have it just on 24/7. Yeah, and I will call myself out on this. So many years ago, when I was younger, I did feel myself being a little toxic, and whenever my husband would go out, like, with his friends or whatnot, I did find myself, like, wanting to check up on him.
Right. When you guys first got married?
I think, like, maybe 10 years into the marriage. Like, you know, you go through your phases, right? In a marriage, you go through your phases. Seasons. And I was in a phase where, and it's not like he's ever given me a reason to doubt him or anything like that. It's just that I was in a phase where I just wanted to know, like, like, what is he doing? Where is he at? Maybe I did want to feel in control of him. Right. I mean, you know, I'm calling myself out.
Women tend to want to control. Like, that's not a secret.
And I would find myself, like if he was out, you know, I would, like, go on him and his friends, like, Facebook, Instagram stories to see where they were at, what they were doing, who they were with. And now, looking back, if I were to have had his location, man, I would drive myself crazy. That would have driven myself crazy. I would have really, like, ruined everything. Yeah. And I think it's such a dangerous, slippery slope with that, because it does have the potential to turn into something kind of nasty.
Given, like, my previous relationship that we were talking about, that he would just sit there and watch me. Exactly. Right. And it wasn't like, hey, baby, I saw that you're here. Like, are you okay? Or, like, hey, you haven't responded, and, you know, whatever. Right. It was more like, is it true that to catch me in a lie? And I'm
Yeah.
like, fool, I know you know where I'm at. Why are you asking questions to try to see if I'm lying? You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it can turn very toxic because that person is not healthy. Like mentally, he wasn't in the headspace. First of all, we had no trust, right? Because there was cheating involved. There was no security, right? Him in of himself, right? So he wasn't in the right headspace to have that kind of power.
Correct.
To have that because it was just feeding into his insecurities. And so definitely that can turn very toxic, you know? And so for these people here that have opinions and comments, it's so easy to be like, one size fits all, right? Like, for me, in that particular relationship, no, it wasn't good. Because once I found out this person was being a cheater, then it was like, every time he would turn off his locations, it would be like, okay, I know what he's doing. You know, it was just, the whole thing was toxic, period. Obviously, if a relationship is toxic, that's just gonna add, right? Having someone's 100% whereabouts. Obviously, it's different when you're married, but when I didn't live with this, obviously I didn't live with this person, it was causing more chaos to something that didn't need be, you know? And then when we finally didn't have that, it was like one less thing to add to the, where are you? What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Or why'd you go here? Or you're taking too long or whatever, right? Now, like in contrast, I am in a healthy relationship and this person is mature. Both of us are secure. That doesn't affect us. Like I said, we even forget that we share. Like I'll be like, hey, because like there was one time where my phone was acting wackadoodles before I changed this because I, you know, upgraded or whatever. You know how Apple just makes you want to get a new phone. So it starts suddenly not working. So I wouldn't get calls. My phone wasn't getting calls, like just whatever. It was just whacking out. So he was like, where are you? Like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Like, everything okay? Because again, those people who know me know that I answer my phone right away. And so it was like, oh my gosh, where you were? And I was like, babe, you could have just checked my location. Like, you know where I'm at, you know? And he's like, I totally forgot, you know, because we're not in that headspace to want to control. Okay. We have no desire to control the other person, that we forget we have the power to see where they're at. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it definitely matters. Like every single relationship is going to be different. It's going to be different. You know, in previous relationships that I was with, where safety was always a situation, and I know you know who I'm talking about. I never shared locations, but then at that time I didn't work, so I never left my house. Okay. You know, so there was no need for me to share my location. Yeah. You know, I never left my bubble, you know, but I really think that it just depends on each relationship, you know? Yeah, it definitely does depend on... And for these people to feel so passionate about wanting to impose their ideas on somebody else, it's like, get the ganas. Yeah. Like, okay, cool. You share your locations with your spouse. Like, that's wonderful. I'm glad that's not toxic for you. Yeah. And what? Like, you want to change my mind? I think we live in a generation where everybody doesn't feel comfortable with somebody else not feeling the same way. We feel uncomfortable. Like, we don't know how to do. We want to impose. Like, but why? Why does that feel so different? Like, you and I, we have so many, like, our personalities are very similar. We're pretty much, you know, we end up wearing the same thing every single day. But we feel very differently about different topics. Correct, yeah. And yet, there's the safe space to, like, be unique. But why with strangers do we feel the need to impose how we feel? Yeah. Why does it make us feel so uncomfortable that somebody has a different opinion about us? I think it's because it's their way or no way. It's like, I'm right. They want to prove a point. Right. Or maybe they just want to feel like in control. Control. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, for the majority of our comments, it was all men who were commenting on it. There were a couple of women who commented on it. Another man commented, he put, it's wanting to be in control of the relationship.
So obviously he felt the opposite, unlike most of the men, where they were like, it's not a red flag. If you're not doing anything shady, there's no reason for you to worry. Like, you should just share it. It's a blah, 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 blah. I think a lot of people feel like because it's available, we'll just use it. Why not just use it if it's there? Right? But then again, other people might feel a little old school and be like, well, why? We didn't have this back in the day. Like,
I think now that you're saying it out loud, I think a lot of it has to do with their own experiences, right? The people who have had shady women who have cheated, they came at like, oh, it's because you did it. Okay.
I almost wanted to come in back like, damn, who hurt you, man?
Yeah.
Like,
and it shows. Yeah. We bleed our experiences onto other people. Like, because I went through this, it's you too.
You have to.
You don't want to share because you're shady. It's like, what? It's you like, don't even. You don't even know me. You don't know why I've chosen not to.
I was actually reading something about sharing locations, and it was like this psychiatrist. I can't remember her name or anything, but she basically said, like, it's not a one size fits all. Like, you basically have to tailor your needs based on your past experiences, your trauma. Like, people who might have gone through a shitty relationship with cheating involved or whatnot, for them, if they don't have the location on, that's a deal breaker. They'll be like, I can't trust you. I'm never going to trust anyone 100%. Bye. Like, if you don't want to share your location, then we're done. You know? So, like, but then another person who's completely been in good relationships, it just hasn't been the right person, they might feel, you know, different. They might say, no, like, to me, it's not a big deal.
And actually, that's funny because if I would have taken my past experiences from being with that psycho person, I could have been like, no. Like, if I hadn't healed that moment and, like, allowed my experience to bleed into that other relationship, I would have imposed my feelings and thoughts that I experienced with him on that, you know? Which is funny because actually he started sharing his locations with me.
Okay.
He didn't even ask me. And I was like, oh, that's different. He's like, I've never shared my locations with anybody.
How did that make you, like, did you ever have that conversation with him beforehand?
About previous relationship?
No, like sharing locations.
No. I think there was something that was going on and we needed to know where the other person was going to be because we were busy, so we couldn't vocalize where we were going to be at. And so he's like, I think he was coming to me and I was somewhere else or working, I don't know. But he was like, oh, so you know my ETA, I'm going to share my locations with you. And at first I was like, you know, because we had just started dating at this time. And then we weren't in the space to talk about it in that moment. I was just like, okay, cool. And you don't know if someone shared it for an hour at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to jump to conclusions and be like, oh, he's sharing it forever, you know? Yeah. So it was kind of like, okay, we're gonna circle back to this conversation.
Did you ever?
We did.
Back?
Yeah, we did. Which is the wonderful part about being able to have a healthy relationship is like you could talk about these things, and if you don't talk about them in that moment, it's not going to create chaos, right?
Right.
So eventually, I finished working. He came and we went on our date and we talked about it. And I was like, and I was just honest. I was like, I was a little like, just like I told you, I was like, oh my gosh, he's sharing his locations. Is it like, are we that serious? You know, like, is it for the end of the day? Is it indefinitely? You know, is it just for the hour? And you don't want to be dumb and then also share it. And then it's like not for, and then it's like, and so-and-so stopped sharing.
Yeah. You get a notification.
Yeah, but then it's like one loser. So I didn't share it in that moment. He just shared it. But there was no expectation, which was beautiful. He was just like, look, I'm just giving you this peace of mind so you know where I know you're going to be working, just so you know where I'm at, because he had some ways to drive. And I thought that was so refreshing to me, because there was no like, you should share your location too, because in my previous relationship, it was like, I do it, you should do it too. It was like, no, I'm just going to do me, and you do you, whatever you want to do, you know? And so that was different. And I was like, you know what? And I didn't share it for like a couple of days. He just shared it, and I didn't know at that moment how long it had been, but I did share it. We had the conversation, and then he was just like, you know, he shared, I had never in my previous relationships because they were toxic.
Right.
The
okay.
women were toxic, and I didn't care to give them that security. And I would like to have something healthy with you. And if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. And I was like, well, yeah, considering my job, I would like you to know where I'm at, because I am constantly with freaks of nature. No, I'm just kidding. Not all my clients are freaks. But, you know, when you're alone with another man, it's like, it's a little eerie.
Yeah.
So I wanted him to know, because he's close enough to come and rescue me if need be, you know? And like, what are you going to do? You know, like, yeah, she, I mean, you can call 911 and stuff, but I do feel peace of mind him knowing, because he's close enough to, you know, to have it. And so it hasn't been an issue. And you know, it's so different, and it's nice when you have that communication of your expectations of what it means to you, what it's for, right? Like you said, you've never had that conversation with your husband. It hasn't been a necessity,
right?
You know, and so,
well, there's one time where he was like, "Hey, so let me put a new stereo in your car, but it comes with a GPS system." And I was like, I don't want it. He thinks that I said no to the new system because of the GPS. And I'm like, no, it's just that my car doesn't need it. Like, why would I want a new stereo? Like, to me, it was unnecessary, because it was like free from our thingy. Yeah. And but then he's like, oh, but you immediately said no because I told you. Immediately no. He's like, you immediately said no because of the GPS system. I was like, no, I didn't. It's like, I did not say no because of the GPS system. I was like, dude, you literally connect my phone sometimes onto my car with the CarPlay. Yeah. And it'll tell you, like, most recent things. Yeah. You know? And, you know, because of our job, obviously, we input just random locations, random addresses, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that brings me to a really good story. Okay. So in my toxic relationship, this was towards the end. It was so bad. He had my location. You know, clients are late sometimes, right? Yeah. Okay, well, this guy, he was an hour and a half late. So I was at this address for like 3.5 hours. It looked terrible, right? Yeah. And I'm not answering. Well, I knock on the door and I start chit-chatting with the lady who lived there. Yeah. And so we hit it off, and we're like talking, and you know, it's rude. Okay. It's rude. You don't want to like text somebody and be like, no, you know? Yeah. And so then I'm like, you know what? He knows where I'm at. I told him I was going to a freaking showing. And a healthy person would be like, they're at their showing. She's a perica. She's going to start talking to the person.
The client loved the home. Yeah. They're going to buy it.
Right. So, like, so when you have a healthy mindset, you don't start thinking, oh, she's probably there cheating. Yeah. Or you think, oh my gosh, maybe she died. You know, you like you think she something
got stabbed.
You think something more normal, right?
Alert! I'm falling in the can't get out.
So, but he didn't think that. He was like, oh, she's got to be cheating. He started making up this crazy scenario, and I'm like, first of all, you know what I do for a living. Yeah. You know that I talk. You know that I don't like to be rude. And when I already told you where I was going to be, and I told you this person's running late, and then if I stop texting you, like, you know how my work, you've been with me for long enough to know how this thing works. 3 hours and a half later, he finally showed up. And so I take a little bit longer, you know, and it's just, it created such a mess. But that created for like the worst case scenario is she was there at this one address, you know, and he's like, you know, well, how do I know that? How do I know you're
okay? So now that you share that story, do you feel like if you would not have been sharing that story, that wouldn't be
the location?
Yeah, the location. Sorry, what did I say? Oh my God, did I just have like a brain fart?
Yeah, you're like, if you don't think you'd be sharing that story.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, if you don't think, if I hadn't shared my location.
Sharing your location, that wouldn't even be a topic of conversation.
No.
So, looking back.
I mean, pause. Because he was toxic, the last conversation I had was, hey, I'm going to my appointment. And then I wasn't able to answer. So either way, he would have assumed, because he's just toxic, right? Yeah. He's going to think I'm cheating.
So, like, okay. again, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have a very conventional job, right?
Yeah.
It's not like an 8 to 5 job, or we work at a bank or whatever.
Right.
We are out and about. Sometimes we're at home. Sometimes we're whatever,
Right. You're
prospecting.
everywhere.
Yeah, you're everywhere.
Right.
Sometimes showing one house could go on for 2-3 hours, just like you said, or we're showing a piece of land, like también igual. It could, it's in the middle of nowhere. It takes you an hour to get there, and then maybe another 45 minutes to show it, and then an hour to get back, right? Do you think that if you wouldn't, I'm trying to find the words. So if you were at a 9 to 5 job, 8 to 5, whatever, a conventional job, do you think that if you were there, because someone could easily cheat too at an 9 to 5 job,
right?
They're in one place
and
all
they
day
do
long,
all the time,
and they do it all the time
with their coworkers,
right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know how I'm trying to make this point, but do you think if you would have maybe have a different job, it would have been different? Like, you would need to know where he's at all the time, or he would need to know where you're at all the time?
My ex?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I didn't need to know because I knew his route. Like, I wasn't insecure even though he was the cheater. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need it because I knew he had the same schedule all the time. I just was like, well, if you want mine, it's whatever. And like the only times I would check his location is if he was doing because of his job, and he wouldn't answer. I'd be like, and then I'd look. He's like, oh, it's like, oh, he's working. Like, okay, whatever. That was a healthy mentality.
Yeah,
and that's what that's for, right? Oh, okay, they're okay, because obviously they're on the road and all this stuff. So I truly believe that no matter what kind of a job I would have had, even if I would have been in the same damn location all day long. Outside, and he could drive by, he would have been like, no, you're cheating. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what it would have been. That's why I'm saying these people's mentality, like you said, a cheater's gonna cheat.
Correct.
They'll find a way, location or not, right? But when people are so insecure and they want to control, you start thinking psycho thoughts. It's the mind that makes you think crazy things. And he had just gone off the deep end thinking the worst case scenario because his insecurities were this particular situation was his insecurities were being imposed because he was being shady. So he's like, if I'm doing this and it looks like this and da-da-da, so then when she does this and this is probably what she's doing and this is why she's saying this, da-da-da.
So I thought about something while you were talking about that. Light bulb. So if this is for safety reasons only, why not just share your Apple ID and password? And if they really were concerned, then they could just log on to your account and find you. If it was really for safety reasons. Like, honestly, like if when, for example, the situation when I went missing for like an hour or two, because I had no reception, and then my phone, like the SIM card on my phone was, it was acting up, and then I messaged you
on Facebook.
It was just more convenient to message you because you have an iPhone, and then the message went through,
right?
Versus my husband who has the Droid. So he was able to locate my last location by going in through my daughter's phone, and then I unknowingly was sharing my location with my kids, and they were like literally watching my every step. Like, they were like, "Mom, are you almost home? I can see you're driving. You're almost home. You're by Temecula Parkway.
Oh, you're eating sushi? Can you get me some too?"
So my husband was then able to just like log in through her phone and watch where I was, and he was like on the way to rescue me. That was crazy.
Oh my gosh. I wanted to strangle you that day.
So if it's like for all those people who are saying it's for safety reasons, if it really is for safety reasons, why just not give each other your iCloud password, and then you could just log into Find My iPhone and find someone's location like that? Because
it's not convenient. Like, you gotta jump through all those hoops.
What do you mean? You save the password, and then you go onto your Find My app, Find My whatever, and you type it and you log in, and it shows you where like your. So like, for example,
what's the difference then of sharing and going in yourself?
Well, the other difference is the fact that if you're sharing your location, you know exactly like donde estás at all the time.
And the other way is what?
You have to like log in and then do it.
So there's more hoops.
There is more hoops, but
I don't think I understand.
there's no
so
like why is it a hoop if it's just for safety reasons? Like it'll just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Only a toxic person is constantly going to be checking it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the other person, if like you said, if they're seriously concerned, they'll jump the hoops or not.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And if they're like, there was a while you didn't know, but you were sharing your locations with me.
I know. I told you. I was like, oh shit. I think I'm sharing my location
For
with you.
like quite some time. I didn't even know.
I'm so dumb like that. Sometimes I just forget.
But I was like, I think I used it against you that day though, because I brought it up to you by making a joke because I knew where you were at the time. I was like, I think you were.
Why are you at McDonald's drive-thru again? Where are you at
Starbucks? Yeah. But I think that it's pretty much the same thing. There's just more hoops to get there.
Yes.
But if you're talking about invasion of privacy, you're giving somebody more access to you that way by giving them your whole...
It's just your iCloud.
Well, everything is on your iCloud.
Everything is on your iCloud.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But how is that giving...
All of our conversations are on...
You're so stupid. Well, then again, like if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to hide.
That's what I'm saying.
So
at the end of the day,
yeah.
At the end of the day, like, because I get that whole, which I wanted to go back to that whole invasion of privacy thing, because if that, and now I'm playing devil's advocate, if it's the whole invasion of privacy thing, that is even more private, right?
What is?
Sharing your whole like password and thing to get in. Because then they could look up every conversation that you're having with everybody and not just your location.
Well, I mean, yes.
A psycho person is going to sit there and be like...
So, no. Yeah, for sure. But I guess I get what you're saying. Like, they could just easily log in and then just never log out.
Right.
Right? They just never log out. But... I mean, I guess it could go both ways. It just it depends on the person.
It does.
If you know that you have toxic tendencies,
don't ask for any of that.
Don't do it. And again, I'll call myself out. I feel like if I were to have that with my husband, I probably would be on that thing all the time. Not that I haven't. He's never given me a reason.
Right.
But I probably will be like,
but you're Mexican.
Why are you at Home Depot? Again.
Do we need to be buying that?
Why are you at Cardenas? Again. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's just like, to me, it's just like, I don't want no one to be watching me. Like, I feel like you're being watched in a way. Yeah. Like with my kids, for instance, they knew where I was.
Yeah, you were.
They were I would be driving and they'll be texting me.
Like, let me be.
Mom, you're almost home. And I'm like, how the hell do you know?
Yeah.
Because I have your location. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Right.
I think I was coming home from a showing.
What am I doing?
And it's just, I think it's just the thing of like knowing that somebody is watching you. That's like an eerie feeling, regardless if it's your kids, your mom, your brother, your sister, your spouse, friend, whatever. Like,
you don't like that feeling.
I don't like that feeling. I feel like,
well, in contrast, I don't share with my kids.
Okay.
I only share, well, the difference is obviously my divorced. So
your kids share with you.
Yeah, my kids share with me, but they don't know where I'm at. So I'm thinking if my kids know where I'm at, they go to their dad's, and then he's gonna know where I'm at because they're gonna have, you know what I mean. And it's obviously nobody else's business. But my man to know where I'm at. I just need to know where my kids are at. They don't need to know where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but my kids are so nosy though. David FaceTimes me all the time. Mom, what are you doing? Where you're at? You know, what are you eating? So for me, I feel invasion of privacy because my ex has access to their phones.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, it's more like, I don't think anybody on that side needs to have my whereabouts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's funny because as far as like other people, I think I would feel that way about other people having my location.
Wait, say that again?
So like, you know how you're like, it feels like somebody's watching me, invasion of privacy or whatever. Like I don't feel that about my significant other.
Okay.
I guess because like we're together very often, and
Okay.
he obviously knows where I am at, because we verbally share. He's either with me or I'm with him. But there are other people that I would feel like.
Well, it's not something you're just gonna give away to some like to a random person. Like, hey, Jaime, here's my location, just in case.
Jaime, you guys want to start
Obviously, you have to pick and choose where you're gonna.
But I'm just saying,
you know?
I get that feeling because I can provoke it.
Vegas, but you're like, I get this. Casi me pica el ojo.
Guys, I know you can't really tell how far we are, but like we're pretty far. But I can provoke those feelings in me to be like, oh, I don't like that feeling. So I get it. I sympathize with you.
Well, I mean, I don't feel like, okay, like when I would share my location with you, to me, it's not a big deal. It's like, oh, whatever. Like,
girl, those couple of months though, we were together every single day. Though.
But it was just like, you know, especially going on. Yeah. And it wasn't all the time. It was just like, hey, I'm going, meeting a new client, going to this like God's country, middle of nowhere. Here's my location. Like, and then I would text you like, hey, I'm on my way back. And then once I would get in my car, I normally would just turn it off or whatever. And then that was that.
And then I'd be like, why'd you turn off your location? I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, like, do what you want to do, okay? You want to share your locations? Share your locations. Yeah. You don't want to share your locations? Don't share your locations. If you think you're going to be a psycho person on there watching, what are you doing?
We had a girl comment on there's like, my husband and I have our locations, but I only use it because when I need to turn on the comal, when I know he's close by, because I need to calentar las tortillas.
That's a good one. No, for reals, but I used to do that to be like, let me know when you're close by, and then they would forget to text me I'm close by, and be like, because I like to give food warm. You know, I like to serve.
Of course, I don't like to give cold food. Who likes to eat cold food?
I mean, no, Mensa. I mean, it's a pet peeve to serve. Like, I don't like to just make it and be like, oh, well, we'll reheat it when he gets home. You know, I like to serve it like freshly made.
Boiling hot. Tongue burning.
Yes. I like to give cold food.
Wait, I don't like to eat cold food, except for cold pizza. All right. We have Jaime here, who's a male. Jaime, what do you think about sharing your location? Thumbs up or thumbs down? What are your thoughts?
Well, I lean towards no.
Why?
But it's case by case basis. But I
okay, let's say in dating and in marriage. Dating, no. Marriage, what about in marriage?
Okay, let's just say you dating. Okay, you're dating someone. You've been dating them for, I don't know, 6 months. Would you share your location with them? You would not. No. Even though you had no trust issues with her, like you wouldn't want her, or you vice versa. You wouldn't share locations.
I think it's like a trust issue. I think it would reveal that there's a trust issue.
Okay. What if you were married? No, still?
What if she was a realtor? Or her job was like...
If it's for safety reasons, that's different.
Okay. But is it indefinitely sharing? Are you sharing it the whole time, or only when she's going somewhere like Karina shares with us?
It's only needed if she was going somewhere that could potentially be dangerous or something like that.
You heard it here first, guys.
Because, I mean, he brings up a good point. Like,
It's gonna reveal.
No.
Oh.
Like you said earlier, you share it with your significant other because, he's close by, and if something were to happen, he's there to rescue you.
Right.
Okay, well, what if someone just shoots you? Or stabs you and you're dead within minutes?
Yeah.
Location or not, there's nothing he could do about it. Probably he'll put himself in even more danger by going out there himself.
Right.
Just devil's advocate,
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like it doesn't really matter if you're sharing or not. Like if something is really going to happen, like there's nothing
cheating or dangerous or whatever.
Like someone could cheat and have relations with someone in 5 minutes. Have intimate relations in 5 minutes. Or what do you want me to say? Intercourse. Super quick. Super quick relations. Well, I'm just saying. So, I mean, if your spouse has the location or not, then your significant other is going to go there super fast trying to get to you and kill you both.
You're going to be really quickly done. I'm dead.
Oh my God.
So, in conclusion, guys, hurry up and do it quickly.
Hurry up and do it quickly. My significant other's on his way.
Quick. Oh my gosh, my stomach hurts.
The cops and my significant other are on their
Everybody
way.
and my best friend who also has
my kids.
My friend's coming to warn me. Apúrate. Ya viene. Quickly.
Oh, God.
Someone's about to walk in on you.
Ay, Dios
I'm
mío.
dead.
Anyways.
So, in conclusion, Jaime, I wish you the best in your relationship.
In your relations.
In your relations, quickly. That is so funny. Obviously, sharing locations is a topic that has many,
Stir the pot.
yeah,
Oh my
many
God.
people stirred quickly. But I mean, at the end of the day, what me and Karina believe is irrelevant.
Yeah.
This is our opinion, but we ultimately believe that you should analyze if it's what's best for you. It doesn't matter. We're not trying to impose our beliefs on you guys. I do it. She doesn't. Jaime will not do it. Will not do it when he marries. But it doesn't or dates. It doesn't work for everybody.
So if you're looking for a long, free relationship
of no sharing your locations, Jaime is available. If you are looking for someone who does not want to share,
total freedom. I'm just kidding.
Who does not want to share their locations, Jaime is available. We will link his profile down below.
No, don't do it.
Find love on the Chisme, guys. We're getting a call.
We're not just home matchmakers. We're also Chisme matchmakers.
Too funny. Well, in conclusion, guys, do what you want. Share or don't share. Do what you want.
Do whatever the F you want.
But don't get your panties in a bunch because we have an opinion, okay, guys?
And don't call us tortas on the We had someone call us tortas. What are these tortas yapping about?
Tortas are good. When I was a little girl.
Oh my God.
When I was a little girl. Can you believe it? I can't believe that.
Yapping about?
As I was saying that when I was a little girl, how many times have I tried to shut it down, man? You just keep going.
What? Shut it down.
I'm like, in conclusion, when I was a little girl, I was at the mall. My sister's 9 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, by the way. She's very beautiful. She was walking and some guy yells at her. And she's like, he told her, ay, estás bien buena como una torta. So that's what I thought of. I'm like, tortas are good.
Como un caldo de res. Como un chile relleno. Like what?
Como unas enchiladas, preferably. Las verdes for me. Con un arroz.
Un arroz rojo, por favor.
Yes, I'm hungry.
God.
Pero sin la salsa de ella porque me mata. Es que no sé, me muere. Me muere.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, well, thanks guys for tuning in. I hope you if you have more opinions, please comment down below. We'd love to hear what you guys do and what works for you. Thanks, and see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.